You know, the prospects of a hate crimes bill passing the legislature this year is brightening a little bit here. More than a dozen Georgia political notables, including former President Jimmy Carter and former Atlanta Mayor Andrew Young and Shirley Franklin, signed a letter supporting hate crimes legislation. And now the chairman of the committee that's been holding up the bill for more than a year tells 11 Alive that he's optimistic this could be the year that it possibly passes. 11 Alive's Doug Richards has more from the state capitol.
The committee chairman, a soft-spoken senator from Waynesboro named Jesse Stone, told us today that the hate crimes bill didn't have enough votes to get out of the Judiciary Committee earlier this year. But he says that has been changing.
Hate crimes still are being committed.
It was no coincidence that when the Georgia legislature reconvened, there was a boisterous crowd outside, angry about police mistreatment of African Americans and angry about the absence of a hate crime law in Georgia.
Do the right thing! Do the right thing!
Georgia is one of 4 states without a hate crime law. The bill pending in Georgia would target crimes involving race, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender, and disability.
Georgia is better than this.
House Speaker David Ralston has become an outspoken backer of the bill since the killing of Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick this spring.
That bill has been sitting in the other chamber for 465 days.
What's the likelihood of a hate crimes bill getting out of your committee?
I'm cautiously optimistic about it. We're working very hard behind the scenes, building consensus.
Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Jesse Stone says his committee is trying to strengthen the hate crimes bill.
We want to pass something that is more than just a title, hate crimes legislation. We want to really have an impact.
He did not discuss details, but as protesters entered the Capitol and vowed to make hate crimes their priority, backers said lawmakers should do the same.
It's malpractice if we don't try. People are frustrated, they're outraged, they're protesting, they're doing their part on the outside of this building. We better do our part on the inside.
State Representative Eric Allen told us that he dropped a bill today that would require a body camera on every police officer in Georgia. Ralston told House members that he would make police reform bills a priority in next year's legislative session.